Hello and welcome to Just Board, the show about computers, microcontrollers, and more. Today we'll take a look at the FireBeetle ESP32. Like the name suggests, this is a development board for the ESP32 system on a chip, which packs a dual-core 32-bit processor that clocks in at 240 MHz. For memory, the board has a total of 520 kilobytes of SRAM, and for persistent storage, there's 8 megabytes of flash. There are two onboard LEDs. One of them is a charge indicator, and the other one is user programmable. For networking, the board has a built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module, which includes support for Bluetooth Low Energy. And the button in the center of the board is a reset button, which will restart any program code that's loaded onto the chip. The micro USB port can be used to program the board as well as for communication, and it also supplies power. Alternatively, you can power the board from a lithium battery by attaching it to this connector. And yes, the board will charge the battery from the USB port if both of them are plugged in at the same time. There are a total of 36 pins on the FireBeetle, and the board comes with options for male and female headers that you can solder onto them. There's one ground pin, one 3.3 volt pin, one VCC pin, which will be 5 volts over USB, and about 3.7 volts when powered by a battery, 5 analog input pins, and 10 digital I/O pins. As far as interfaces go, there's one UART, one I2C, one SPI, and one I2S interface for digital audio. The board can be programmed using a number of different platforms, including the Arduino platform. There's also a low-level C framework if you need more control over the board, and if you prefer high-level languages, you can use MicroPython or JavaScript if you load the Esprino interpreter onto it. So, what's it for? The combination of rechargeable battery connector, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth Low Energy make this a great board for Internet of Things applications. You can directly connect to other circuits using the I/O pins, talk to local devices using Bluetooth, and talk to remote servers on the internet using Wi-Fi. It handles running lightweight web servers really well, so it's a good fit for any embedded project where you need to add some kind of remote UI. They can also be programmed as wireless access points and can communicate with one another wirelessly. So with more than one of them, you can do things like signal repeaters and adaptive mesh networks. DFRobot makes two other types of FireBeetle boards that use the same form factor and, for the most part, compatible pin configurations. One of them runs an ESP8266 and the other runs an ATmega 32AP, which is the same micro used by some Arduino boards. This way, you can upgrade or downgrade the board you use to fit the demands of your project without having to change the pin configuration. So, what isn't it for? If you plan to use Wi-Fi a lot or do a bunch of Bluetooth communication other than the low energy protocol, it's probably not ideal to power it from a battery. Otherwise, you'll need to recharge it somewhat frequently unless you have a big battery. And some of the more advanced features on the ESP require a bit more low-level code than you might be used to if you're coming from the Arduino world. But the Arduino support has been steadily improving, so I'm sure that they'll eventually get all of the higher-level APIs figured out. Well, that's the FireBeetle ESP32. Go to the comments below and let me know what board you'd like to see covered next. Or let me know what types of projects you'd like to see built using the FireBeetle. And click through to the video on the left if you'd like to see this board in action.